Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? Thank you all for coming tonight. I've been picturing this in my head for a long time. It's been a dream of mine to come up here and have an event like this. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Houghton from Houghton Physical Therapy here in Atttleboro, Massachusetts. And we are all here for all these health titans that are up here on the stage featuring this amazing panel that we have all assembled to share their secrets to the rock stars that they are. What has worked, what has not worked, what they are still doing just to continue to be successful. These secrets tonight will be invaluable. They will be sharing their secrets of a well-rounded life, what they have done in their life to improve spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And as Tony Robbins says, one of my favorites, success leaves clues. For those of you who like to take plenty of notes, don't worry, I'm going to be writing a book from this event. And for all of you who would like a signed copy or like a copy, just reach out and I'd be glad to give you a copy of that. For those of you who like to take your own notes, we also have a handout for you so you guys can take your own notes from the amazing information that we have here throughout the night. I want to give a big shout out. She wasn't able to make it tonight. Mayor Kathleen DeSimone, who loved the idea from the beginning, and she connected us with all the right people to help out this event tonight. And I want to thank our state representative, Jim Hawkins. He's here. There he is in the back. Thank you for coming tonight, Jim, supporting us. I'd like to thank Mark Furtado and his direct staff here at Attleboro High School. The first public event that the city has held here, and all of us feel grateful that we're the ones that have the first event here from the city. I'd like to thank Kaylin and all the people at City Hall who helped put on this event. I'd like to thank Andrew, Raycroft, and Dante Scarnecchia for being with us tonight. I'd like to thank the panel that is up here giving their time and their health secrets. I've worked directly with most of them with physical therapy, or at least I've talked to them in the clinic, so I feel grateful for that. And I know everyone's wondering about the HIPAA laws. Well, don't worry, I have full permission to share all of their secrets up here. They all sign extensive waivers. Yeah, the fine print. And I really want to give a big shout out to Tracy Lombardi. Right back there. For those of you who don't know, she broke her foot on Saturday or Sunday, well, Saturday night. She said, oh, I'm sure it's fine. She found out it was broken. She's been walking around in a boot. For any of you that know Tracy, she didn't miss a beat. So again, thank you so much for what she did just to get all of us here in the seats. Everyone's asking me all the details about the event, and I said, I have no idea, but I know Tracy does. Thank you to my one of my business coaches, Paul Goff, and his team for just the guidance that they've given me to get up here tonight. And thank you for all the Houghton team that's here tonight, everyone that's here tonight. Thank you for just making this event possible, and thank you for everyone that's not even here tonight that did all the work behind the scenes. So the reason why we're here, a bit about myself. I grew up in North Attleboro, Massachusetts. I grew up like every boy, playing soccer and football and baseball. And as a teenager, I grew up kind of impatient. Is anyone here impatient? Or if you're not, I'm sure you know someone that's impatient. So this all started for me. One day I was going up skiing with my sister and my cousin and my mom and my dad. And at the bottom of the ski lift up at Mount Sunapee, I remember my dad saying as I was getting on the lift, when you get to the top, wait. And I decided another thing with that little impatience, and I ended up in a full leg cast for about 4 months, and this is when I was in high school back in 1987. And that's kind of what started me along on this stream for physical therapy. Through that injury, when I got better, I did my own physical therapy, and I started getting back to track and playing baseball. And then one day when I was going to see my guidance counselor, Mr. Lowe, at Bishop Fian, he asked me, well, Todd, what do you want to do? And I said, well, what do you want to do? What do I want to do about what? And he said, about college. And I said, well, I have no idea. He goes, what do you like? And I said, well, I can tell you what I don't like.
I don't like math, I don't like history, I don't like English. And he said again, let me ask you, what do you like? And I said, I like science, I like psychology, and I like people. And he said, well, have you thought of trying that physical therapy thing? And I said, yeah, sure, it sounds like a good idea. I applied to school, and by the grace of God, I got in to Northeastern in Boston. One of the things that I found, it was a cooperative program, and I had the opportunity to work in 6 different settings, 6 or 7 different places. And when I started off, I realized that there was something that was missing. All that they were focusing on was the physical. And I knew that there was something missing. When I graduated from physical therapy school and I started to get out into the real world, I realized that what was missing was the mind and body connection. And that's kind of why we're here tonight, is that I'm obsessed about helping people realize that everything's possible. Whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, everything is possible. And I knew that there was just a different way. It's not better, it's not worse. And that's what got me on my mission. And having the entrepreneurial spirit, I decided to open up my own practice. And again, just becoming obsessed with how can we help people on all aspects from head to toe. If you've ever come in our physical therapy office, you'll hear people asking questions, how's your hydration? How's your sleep? And many people are like, oh God, what's he gonna ask me today? How's your sleep hygiene? How are your relationships at home? And that's ultimately why we're here today. How can we keep the good mindset even when things are hard? How can we inspire people through with the vehicle of physical therapy? I often joke with patients, our office is a coffee shop that happens to provide physical therapy services. Which is pretty true if you've come in the office. And this is why we're here today, just to get a glimpse of what has made this panel up here successful. So again, my life's passion is just helping everyone realize that everything is possible. So just some details for you tonight. All the guests up here are going to be on stage to share some of their thoughts, their tips, their tricks, and their techniques of how they've been successful well into their 70s and 80s. And let's be honest, let's give a big round of applause. How good do they all look up here? And again, all of you in for a real treat tonight. The idea is, I told them when we were backstage over there, is the goal is here is have some fun. I want to see all the personalities come out tonight. So we have Andrew Raycroft, 44 years old. He's the young kid in the bunch. He's a former NHL goalie, and he's a present NESN analyst, and still using the daily habits and rituals that he learned as he was a kid growing up playing hockey in Ontario. We have Dante Scarnecchia, the former NFL coach for 36 years, is the epitome of consistency and a workout fanatic. I really enjoyed our conversation. He loves life and believes that everything is possible. We have Sofia. She's a former CrossFitter. She enjoys running marathons and can dance up a storm. Who knows, she might even get up here and dance up for us on stage. She lights up the room in every room that she comes in. We have Ronald Almeida, otherwise known as my buddy, otherwise known as my father-in-law. He is one of the smartest and well-read people that I've ever met. He is dedicated to learning, growing, and being healthy and strong. He and his wife, Kathy, love to bike, kayak, hike, and travel the world. Then we have Ron Churchill, 80 years old over there. He is dedicated to staying physically fit and giving back to the community. If anyone knows anything about Ron Churchill, he's always involved in community events and just waiting to share his knowledge. He still works and trains with our good friend Earl. Earl's 53, 260 pounds, and Ron still trains with him for combat striking and groundwork. Ron is the epitome of consistency. Ray Aubin, 73, he's a good friend of mine. A business genius, an Ironman triathlete, he loves life and is always inspiring me to be my best. We have Sheila, 84, she plays competitive basketball. Let me say that again. Competitive basketball. She's a pickleball fanatic and goes to senior games every year, and she's a bright light in the world. So just for tonight, just so you have an idea of what's going to happen. Andrew Raycroft, in a few minutes, is going to start off with a few words. Then I'm going to interview the amazing panel that we have here, sharing their thoughts on the ways to be healthier, the ways that we all can learn and be healthier. Then we're going to take a break for about 5 or 10 minutes in the middle, in case anyone on the panel needs to go to the bathroom. And also, if you guys have any questions that you want to ask the panel, if you can give them to Tracy, she's in the middle in the back over there, and we're going to take about 3 to 5 questions after the break for the panel. Then we're going to come back, we're going to interview the panel, and then Dante will finish up as the guest speaker, and then we'll do a final wrap. My hope for tonight is that everyone here can just to take a few tips, just to get you to think about things maybe in a little bit different perspective, and to realize that everyone here is proof that everything is possible here. And consider trying and maybe implementing a few of those into your daily life. Just a little bit more about the panel, and then Andrew will give his, he's going to give us some great words. Andrew is an 11-year NHL career where he played for teams such as the Bruins, Maple Leafs, Avalanche, Canucks, and the Stars. During this time in the NHL, he accomplished winning the Calder Trophy for Rookie of the Year, happened to be in Boston. He was selected to the NHL All-Rookie team. In his junior year in hockey, he played 3 years in the Ontario Hockey League while accomplishing awards such as the OHL Goaltender of the Year, Outstanding Player of the Year, and led the OHL with the highest save percentage, 92.4. Pretty good. After his playing days, Andrew began his coaching career at the University of Connecticut, serving as a goaltender coach for 3 years. He is actively involved with the Bruins Alumni Association, along with being a hockey analyst for NESN. I was able to spend some time with him on a Zoom call, and I felt like we already had a pretty good connection. That even with his job on NESN, he's kind of more of a little bit more on the quiet side like me, and who would think he'd be on NESN and I'd be up here talking right now? And he came from a family. His father was insurance and his mom worked in a bank. At a young age, when he was going through hockey and his family was just helping him in his hockey career, he started learning the habits, rituals, and routines now that he's passing off to the kids. And I think that was one of the big takeaways that I have from him. The simple things that he learned as a kid, he's now teaching his kids. And imagine when we can teach our kids stuff that we're learning at this time. And when I hear him speaking, he's being from Canada, I still have not heard an accent at all. I like that he likes to keep it simple whenever he gives advice even to his kids. And what I love about him through the conversation is he says that he stays calm, although he owes that to his wife and teaching him how to do that. And he's willing to do what it takes in his life and with his kids and his family. Then we have Dante Scarnecchia, announced to the Hall of Fame contributor by the Patriots, Robert Kraft, in 2023. He spent 36 years in the NFL. Thankfully, most of those were with the Patriots. He was the longest tenured NFL coach on his retirement and played a pivotal role in the Patriots' success, as we all know. He was part of the coaching staff for 22 of the franchise's 28 playoff seasons, including 10 Super Bowl appearances and 5 Super Bowl titles. Again, I was able to visit with him on a Zoom call, and again, we already had something in common. I think we talked it was 11 in the morning, and so we were kind of talking. He said, yep, I was up at 6 o'clock, rode my bike 5 miles, I played pickleball, and I rode back. He's already keeping up with these habits. And what I love through the conversation that he had is that he's fearless, he's willing to take risks. The thing that he had to do in his career to get where he's at, just to continue to, and his healthy habits kept him where he needed to be mentally. He's really patient, and he always sees the glass as half full. Aubin. He's an accomplished business developer and leader, and educated with a strong commitment to performance improvement. As a founder and president of Atttleboro Farms and Greenhouses, Ray oversees all aspects of the business. His leadership extended to the Hockomock area YMCA, where he raised a great amount of money as a board member there. He was a swim coach at Bishofian High School. His record was 192-18. I say this guy knows something about swimming for sure. He's married, has 3 children and 7 grandchildren. I've known Ray for about 30 years when I first started off in physical therapy, and I was treating him when I was a co-op student many years ago. Over the years, we've become great friends, training together, hanging out at his house, and hanging out with him and his wife socially as well. And what I love about Ray is everything is possible. He's inquisitive to learn and grow. He's funny. He's really funny. He's trying to hold back a smile laughing right now. He's silly, and he's also serious when he needs to be. Thankfully, that isn't too often. He has taught me a tremendous amount about business as well. Sofia, born in Portugal, 80 years old. Right, 80 years old. She grew up in Portugal, and she was full of outdoor play and joyful family, and had joyful family gatherings. And she was influenced by a fashion-forward aunt, which apparently it's still working. She learned to stay positive and always to look forward to better days. After moving to the US at 21, she got married and had 3 children. Her passion for fitness continued. She ran the Boston Marathon 7 times and competed with Texas Instruments running team. She joined CrossFit at 60. Now at 80, she has a home gym, exercises daily, and embraces each day with enthusiasm. And you guys are going to see that when we start interviewing the panel. And I also knew her. I wouldn't be surprised if Ray and Sofia came into physical therapy at the same time. It was about 30 years ago. If you cannot tell already, Sofia is full of life and full of expression. Funny story about Sofia. For those of you who really know me, I'm kind of more quiet, kind of more reserved, kind of more of an introvert. And I remember going to the YMCA in Atttleboro for the first time. And I just opened up my practice and I'm thinking, this is going to be great. I walked in with my hat on. I don't want to talk to anyone. I just want to get a workout in. So I walk in and I click my badge and there's Sofia. She says, and of course she's surrounded by about 10 or 15 people. And she goes, Todd! And then she goes, he's the best physical therapist. Ask him anything, anytime. And I'm standing there like a deer in the headlights. Right? And when I was talking to her the other day and she remembers doing that, it was fantastic. Again, what I love about Sofia is her confidence, her boldness, and how she sees life as a gift. Ronald Almeida, aka my buddy, father-in-law, born in Attleboro, Mass, Norton resident since 1976, where he and his wife Kathy had 3 children. After attending UMass for aerospace and civil engineering, Ron chose to follow his passion by joining his father at Morse Standing Gravel. And his grandfather was also there too. He spent 40 years there at the company, eventually becoming the vice president, where he thrived on problem solving and overseeing operations. Ron often joked that going to work was going to play every single day. Now retired for 10 years, he remains active with his wife Kathy, enjoying adventures like kayaking, hiking, and traveling. He enjoys going to Europe, and his favorite country is Greece. But his most important thing is family. He stays connected with family and believes he is highly involved with his children's lives. I've known him for about 13 years when I met him when he came to physical therapy for the first time. Also known over the 13 years, the longest audition since I married his wife. One of the things that I love about Ron is he's also taught me about my impatient tendencies, because I guess they didn't completely go away. I've learned just to slow down. I've learned to think about things. I've learned to think about what I'm doing. I've learned to think, why am I doing something? It's all about the details is one of his favorite phrases. Sheila McKenna, she grew up in Fairhaven, Massachusetts, and was actively involved in music, sports, and excelled in volleyball, softball, and basketball. She was recognized in 1997 when she was inducted to the Fairhaven Hall of Fame. She majored in physical education at Bridgewater University, and she began a coaching career right here at Attleboro High School. She established a physical education department here, establishing programs for field hockey, volleyball, spring track, basketball, softball, and tennis. In addition to her coaching, she's been deeply involved in the senior games. Where do you guys hear this? For over 30 years, she competes in track and basketball. She plays competitive basketball. She plays competitive basketball on the East Coast. She's the oldest woman on her team. The age group that they play in is 82 to 87. And in the senior games, right? In the senior games in 2025, there are going to be over 20 events. People compete from 50 to 100 years old. I met Sheila in the physical therapy clinic, and Tyler, who's here tonight, when we were talking about having people come up on the panel, he said Sheila would be perfect. As soon as I said, what do you think about being on there? She said, yes, I'd love to. So thank you for being up here. And I've had a few conversations with, and what I love about her is her love for life, again, her storytelling, and how she lights up a room. And then, last but not least, we have Ron Churchill, Army veteran for 4 years, police officer for 1 year. He joined the Atttleboro Fire Department in 1968, firefighter for 43 years. He was the chief and also taught fitness classes at the police academy for 27. His best bench press was 363, squat 550, deadlift 595 to 615. After retirement, he continues teaching fitness and working with high school athletes. He is known as a staple here in Attleboro, Mass. He trains with one of my close friends, Earl, like I was talking about before, and he just enjoys staying in shape. I met Ron many times over the years. He knew all my uncles who were all firefighters, so we had some good talks about that. And what I love about Ron is his dedication to his mental and physical fitness, his love for sharing, teaching, and giving back to the community. So there's your piano. So, Andrew, say a couple words, that'd be great.
You got it. Thank you, Todd. Thank you for having me here tonight. It was enjoyable to catch up on a Zoom a couple weeks ago. Tracy, thank you so much for all the logistics and getting me here on time. It was impressive on a Friday. Like Todd said, I am fairly introverted in nature. I've gotten used to, since retirement, getting used to talking in front of people. And I was really quite calm about 45 minutes ago, and then meeting the panel and hearing how healthy everybody is, I should be down there taking notes is kind of what I'm thinking right now. Quite humbled to be up here. I feel like the underdog at this point. But the other thing I was thinking about on my way down, which was quite ironic, and this is kind of where I'll start, I suppose, is this is training camp season. Whether it's football, hockey, basketball, the winter sports, this is go time for hockey. This is when you're really trying to peak for the start of training camp at the end of August. And I remember as a 22, well, probably from an 18-year-old to about a 34, 35-year-old thinking, I cannot wait until I'm 44 years old and I can let myself go and be as fat as I absolutely want to be at this point. So I thought that was kind of, when I was coming down, I'm like, man, I'm coming to talk about being healthy. And I think that's kind of ironic that if I had told my 24-year-old self that I'd be doing this now, he would say I was nuts. So, but here I am. And I think as we get older, we realize how important a healthy mind and body certainly is. And for me, like Todd says, it's a lot of that product is my kids. All of us that have kids or have grandkids or have nieces, nephews, we want to be good influences. We want to be good role models, and that's really where my focus on health and focus on trying to be a successful person, trying to teach my kids how to build habits and to build discipline. That's where my focus really is now. And it's not always easy. Like, again, quickly on my upbringing, small town Canada, exactly what you would think of small town Canada. My father ran a small insurance brokerage. My mom worked at the bank downtown. I have a younger sister that's 2 years younger, and I played hockey every day. 20,000 town, or population of 20,000 my town, that was it. And it was very habitual, right? We would get up, my dad would drop us off at school, my mom would have already been at the bank to open things up. He went to work all day, he came home at 5:30, we walked home from school, my mom would cook us dinner, and we'd go to hockey practice, and we'd come home, and we literally did that for 365 days a year. No distractions. There was nothing to distract us with. And it was just the routine. And again, being my father doing his business on his own, he couldn't take days off. And if he did, then it was for really good reasons. So our vacations really had a lot of meaning, or our time away had a lot of meaning. And I'm very grateful for that now because of the world we live in is so different from that, and the way my kids are being brought up is so different, and my focus is so, although I can't be that guy, I can't be that old guy saying, I walked to school uphill both ways in the snow, like, you can't do that to the kids, but trying to instill that and really focus on what I think is, and I think would probably be a common thread on this panel, is discipline and routine. It's the easiest and most important way, and all of the motivational talk or anything you read about taking that little step, how do you eat an elephant, small bites. It really is how all the best players that I played with were. The guys that were better than me were better at it than I was, but I was better than the guys that weren't as good as me. It was absolutely through, from top to bottom in any professional organization, any high college organization, the people that had the best routine, the best discipline, they just found a way to get those few inches at the end of the day. And that's what I'm really trying to instill on my kids. Sleeping. Drinking lots of water, eating properly. It's so easy to do, but there's so many times it's looked over, and that's something that I truly found playing professional hockey at the highest level for 11 years. The Hall of Fame guys that I played with were obsessed with details, obsessed with getting the right amount of sleep, obsessed with getting to the rink at the certain, 2 hours earlier than everyone else. And I'm sure Dante has all of those stories and can relate in the same way, because that's what it takes. There's no shortcuts, and it truly is something that we can all take, and that I've taken, like I said, from being a 17, 18-year-old kid and learning from the best on how to get through that, and now recognizing how important that is to just pass a little bit of that on to the next generation. So I suppose just in closing, for me, is how, again, humbled I am to be up here. If there's nothing taken away from anything else, it's how important details are, how important the discipline of not undersimplifying. Be simple with everything you do. Food, sleep, water, like the things we learned when we were the youngest of ages is really what is going to get us through the next, for me, hopefully 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, if I'm lucky. And again, I can't wait to learn from this panel here tonight, and I really want to thank all of you for having me here tonight.
Thank you, Andrew. I think you said a lot of great things, and one of the things that I heard that I think is good for everyone to hear is, it's just, you talked about an elephant, you just do one bite at a time, you just do one thing at a time. And I know it's easy for people to get overwhelmed as you're starting to do something, I don't know where to start. The thing is just to start, right? And if we can just take that first step, it leads to the next step, and it leads to the next step. Yeah, so thank you very much. So who should I ask the first question to?
Give me a break.
Okay. Let's go with... Okay, Ray. Thank you, that's a great suggestion. Hey Ray, how's it going? Oh, the three of you should have a mic. Actually, Ray, Sheila, there should be a microphone between you guys. Should be on. Testing.
Is that good? Can you?
Closer.
Yes. I was instructed how to use this.
So the first question I'll ask Ray is, what do you believe has been the key factor in allowing you to live a long and healthy life?
So that's a great question, Todd. I haven't lived a long life yet. Still working on it. But if I can be serious for a moment, any triathletes out here other than Tracy and Todd? We'll talk about other things. No, we'll talk about it anyway, so it'll be fun. So the first thing is that we try to do is we try to eat healthy. And of course, we can really drill down when we talk about diet, but certainly diet is a very big part of how we perform. And I had the fortune to speak with Dante a little bit earlier and mention that almost 42% of the population, adult population, is obese in this country. So certainly diet's a really important piece. And as a matter of fact, I would argue that 85 to 90% of performance, health could be related to diet. So we really don't have to get out there and work hard, we just have to eat right. So a big piece of it. And from Ray's perspective regarding hydration, that's a big piece as well. So really important stuff. So anyway, I think trying to maintain that healthy weight and trying to be active. And when, of course, some of us are a little over the top in terms of activity, like the panel. But it only takes 30 minutes, 5 days a week of strenuous exercise. I don't mean like a la-di-da exercise. I mean, get out and get your heart rate up. And it really doesn't take much. And that and diet would go a long way.
Thank you, Ray. That was really great.
You're welcome.
I'll go to Dante. So Dante, what do you think has been the primary reason behind your ability to enjoy a long and healthy life?
I think balance is really important. I also think that the term habit has been expressed up here a couple of times, more than a couple. I would go one step further relative to habits, and I would say that great habits are a lot more important than habits. And if you have great habits, and we do this in coaching. When we coach players, we're trying to teach players how to play with great habits, how to be so precise with their footwork and their hand placement, and just the way they go about using their body so that it can maximize everything that they have. And you're trying to get them to do a repetitive thing over and over and over again so that when they do it, it's the greatest habit that they have. And that's how you get good players. You coach them to have great habits. And I think it's transcendent to everything we do in life, okay? And if as you said, how have you maintained a healthy life through your first 76 years, I think it's a lot of those things. I don't eat fast food. I'm just telling you, I don't. I took my grandson to Popeyes today, and he got a bucket full, and I had nothing, because I'm not eating that stuff. That's a habit that I have. And Todd and I talked about this when we were doing a Zoom call, and I weigh myself every day. I know exactly what I want that scale to be, okay? And if it's in that 155 range, I'm a happy person. And if it's not, then I got to do something to get it to where it's supposed to be. And there's not a lot of fluctuation with that if you have good eating habits. And let's make that even great eating habits. And I'm fortunate, my wife and I have been married for 50 years, she shares that same thing. So it just has made it a lot easier for me. So I think that you know, the quality of food you put in, you know, those things that you don't want to put in, we all know what they are. A lot of us can't do it, you know, and I say us. You know, we all have our demons, but fortunately, you know, you can overcome a lot of that, and you can do very well with it. So, you know, I just think that, you know, great habits and having great habits are really, really important.
Thank you, Dante. That was great. Sofia.
Hi, everybody. Everybody knows my name. I was never a quiet person. I've always worked out all my life. So I knew we make all choices. I make the choice to be very healthy. And I'm 80 years old, very strong, play with my grandchildren. I play soccer with them. We play cards. If somebody loses, has to do 10 push-ups or up jumping jacks. They don't want to go, but some people. You have to do it. So I discovered when I came over this country, my passion was running. And I was very addicted to running. I don't know if anybody knows about Kevin, 152. I sell sneakers, and I was in a club, one put out. Then my company, Texas Instruments, goes, oh, you're running, you have to run, we're gonna corporate against corporates. You have to be with us running, which I did. Kevin, he was, you know Kevin. So I was running with them, then I went all over the States, competed. I'm a very competitive person. I have to have challenge. That's a choice I'm making. My mother, my family, they never told me what to do. I did them all. I make that choice. She's all Portuguese people. They eat bread. Everybody knows that. I make that choice. I want to be very healthy. I have tremendous energy. So I play with my grandchildren. I have 7 grandchildren. I love them all. That's my passion. Okay, they discovered me with fibromyalgia. My last marathon, I had fibromyalgia. To never stop. I have a tumor in my head. There was not cancer. I didn't stop. I was not afraid to die. My children, they were crying. I didn't never cry. We born to die. And I accept that. Don't be afraid. We will die and as we born. But be strong, live healthy, get a smile, have sense of humor. That's the best medication you have. Keep laughing. This is what I do.
That's great, Sofia. Thank you.
I love it. Inspiring. Ready to run a marathon.
But I didn't know. My stomach, you don't have no idea what my stomach is. I love to talk one-to-one, but for this I never did in my life. That's what I love running, by myself, one foot and the front another.
Well, the good thing is, Sofia, with everyone's in the dark, we can't see them. So Ron, since we're on the subject of nutrition, Ron, how important has nutrition been in helping you stay healthy as you've gotten younger?
It's been extremely important. But first of all, I have to say, I'm very humbled to be here. And Ray mentions, excuse me, some people being over the top. That's not me. I ride bike, I kayak. Oh, sorry. I ride bike, I kayak, but I ride on paved little roads, and my kayak doesn't go over waterfalls. But speaking of nutrition, it started with me, as Todd said. I was in construction, very active. I used to build houses 100 years ago. So you were active, you stayed healthy. I could do most anything. It's when I moved up into the executive position when I was not quite so active, and most especially, so I started putting on some weight. When I retired about 10 years ago, I thought, well, I went to the doctor, I have a very good relationship with, and he looked at the chart and he says, get back to what Ray said, you're obese. He says, oh, you really hurt my feelings. But I knew that as I get older, it was going to be harder to take that off. So that's pretty much when my journey started. At retirement, I was 62, and I said, I got to lose some weight. So I started, and I had never been into a gym, never played organized sports. I played all the sports in my neighborhood, things like that. One of the times that I went to see Todd working on my shoulder, when he had an office right in the gym, he used to warm me up on an arc trainer. So I knew the arc trainer. He put me on it for 2 minutes. I thought I was going to die, but I got warmed up. And so that was the only machine I knew. So I retired in November. January 1st, went to the gym. Signed up, had never been in a gym before. You go with what you're familiar with. I went to the arc trainer. 5 minutes, thought I was going to die. But I kept going. And then it went 5 minutes, then 10, then 20, then 30. I could take that machine. In 4 months, I lost almost 40 pounds. In total, it was over 60 pounds in the course of maybe six months to 8 months. But that's what started it. It was, as we mentioned, habits. And what I always think about is you start with small steps. And that's what I did. It was going to the gym for 5 minutes, and then it became 20 and 30 and 60. You start a habit that we've talked about. And it becomes, without you realizing, it becomes a mindset. And then from there, I started thinking about what I'm eating, because I started feeling really good. I felt good before, and I always said, I fool around with my kids, and I said, I can still do the same stuff, I can just do it a lot faster now. And you start to feel good, and that starts to work on you. Then you say, what's the next step? Well, I've got to start eating better, as has been mentioned before. And it just started with smaller portions. But the point is, it becomes a mindset, and before you know it, it becomes a culture. And you start with that habit, you start with that routine, and it was going to the gym, and I felt good. And you have to keep a positive attitude. And hanging around with this guy for so long, he's been such a motivation for me in the years that I've known him, and I've known him longer than my daughter because of these injuries, knees and shoulders.
Well, it's always a competition. Who knew who first, just so you know.
But when I say a motivation, it's being positive. And what does that mean? So many people talk about being positive. How are you positive? And this guy's taught me, be grateful, be happy. Think about the good things in your life. Think about whatever will put a smile on your face, and you'll feel good, you'll have a better attitude, and you stick with it. And then it's those steps. Those starts out with baby steps, and you learn, and you just keep learning. And then you're at the gym, you're talking with like-minded people, they share their experiences, routines that they might have, and you learn from other people. And you hang around with the right people, and you get wiser and wiser and wiser. And one of the things, when you talk about the habits and doing those same things, in my journey, one of the things that I did learn is you have to be flexible, and you have to give yourself a little bit of understanding, because it doesn't always go just on that linear line. You have your days. I weigh myself every day also. I want to know what foods, how it's affecting me, what a particular workout might do, how it helps, it hurts, or whatever. But sometimes you have a setback. You have to be positive. You have to have the confidence in yourself. I can do this. I'm going to be fine. If I gain a pound or 2 pounds, that's all right. I'm going to work a little bit harder. I'm going to take that off. And that's how you continue on that journey. And it's been over 10 years now. I feel great. I'm very blessed. And you all are an inspiration just hearing all of this stuff. It's awesome. But it works. But it's a journey. And you have to be patient. You have to be flexible. But be confident that you can do it.
Thank you. Really good information. Thank you. Sheila, how's it going over there? I have a question for you. Are you ready? kinds of physical activities or exercises do you include in your weekly routine, and how often do you engage in them?
Well, let's go back to when I was in elementary school.
I just could excuse me for a second. When I asked for a bio, she's done so much in her life. Her resume was like 15 pages. She's done that much in her life. Go ahead, thank you.
Still this side of the grass, too.
And it's amazing.
About 9 or 10 years old, I began playing baseball, football, and basketball. And as far as football, my father came home. My father was a high school teacher and very friendly with the football coach. And I was about 11, and my father came home with shoulder pads for me. And I just thought that was terrific. But by the time I was in 8th grade, I couldn't wear the shoulder pads any longer. That was a joke. Of course, football is long gone, but basketball continues. And one of the things, when I started playing these sports, all my girlfriends in elementary school were playing with dolls. I had many dolls. They were in boxes under my bed because the basketball was much more important to me at that point in time. I started playing pickleball about 3 years ago, and I understand that Dante plays pickleball against many of the women that I play pickleball with in Atttleboro. In fact, pickleball is terrific. We have a new rec director. She's getting things moving. I'm selling our tournament, I'm telling you about that we're having the end of October, and you'll be hearing about it. I'm sure there'll be something in the Sun Chronicle. But the people that I play pickleball with, many of them are some of my former students here at the high school. And none of them were athletes. And boy, can they play pickleball. I mean, they are good. So it makes me think, aha, there was some carryover value from the physical education classes that I taught. I try to fit pickleball in about 4 times a week, but basketball has top priority. As captain of the Connecticut High Fives, and as Todd mentioned, we range in age from 82 to 87. As a captain, I'm the one that has to set the example for my teammates. I encourage fitness, camaraderie, teamwork, and in the end, success. Now, next July, we'll be heading out to Iowa, and Todd did mention about the Nationals, and we'll be playing 3-on-3 basketball in the 80 to 84 age bracket. The oldest woman on my team is 87, and she runs 5Ks. She throws the javelin and the shot put, and she plays co-ed softball, and she never saw a basketball shot that she didn't like. But getting to the weight room, and I only really just started going into the weight room after I had a few sessions at Todd's place, and we had played at a national tournament last year in Pittsburgh, and when I came home, I was so disgusted because we played so poorly. We were without our beast under the boards and one of our left-handed players, so we were missing 2 players, but we didn't play well at all. And I was so disgusted. I put the basketball down and I didn't touch it for about 10 months, and boy, that was a mistake, because I could just about put in a layup. So I got involved with the Y again. I had left my membership during COVID. I got involved with the Y again, and they got me on a plan, working in the weight room, working with the machines every other day, and it works. I mean, I now have some range. I can't put in a 3-point, but my shooting is so much better, and I can feel when I release the ball, if it's not going to reach the basket, it's almost like my shoulder is telling me to stop. But when it goes all the way up, it's very hard to explain. But my shoulder feels so darn good, and I have had surgery in one of them, so I guess that worked. At home, I have a cubby. I don't know if you're familiar, just sit there. It's kind of a lazy man and a lazy woman's way of working out. And you sit and you pedal. But while I'm pedaling, I have a 5-pound weight in each hand, and I have the TV on, so I know what's going on in the world, although I really don't think I want to know what's going on. And I do that for about 30 minutes. And at the end of the day, and the beginning of the day, I try to think what I've done in the morning and what I've completed at the end of the day. So I try to wake up with determination and go to bed with satisfaction.
Thank you very much, Sheila. That was fantastic. Well, Ron, she handed you the microphone over to you. You're up next. And for you, I'm going to go with the same type of question. How have you integrated physical activity into your daily life, and what does a typical week or day look like for you?
Thanks for letting me go after her. Wow. What everybody said here is pretty accurate. I didn't start that way. I hated school. I didn't work out. I spent my time in the woods. I smoked Lucky Strikes. Anyway, I went in the Army to be a paratrooper, and the recruiter said, you better work out, you better run, you better do chin-ups, you better do sit-ups. It started there. But the real thing that changed my life was realizing how important it was to be with people. And you can't be with people if you don't feel comfortable about yourself. That's my opinion. Julius Adams used to live to the Y with me. Steve Nelson, Steve King, and I got to know those guys. And their philosophy on life was encouraging, but as this athlete said, it has to become a lifestyle, doesn't it? Huh? But if you force it, it won't work. I don't force anything. Working out is part of my mental health too. And I need to have that mental health. I need to feel good about myself so I can help other people. I wouldn't have met my wife if I didn't work out. I wouldn't have the confidence to go say hi to her. And things like that are important in your life. But I find, even on the job when I was on the fire department, I realized how important it was to be fit. And the guys that I came on with were from World War II, and they were all pretty tough. And my generation, the Vietnam generation, we didn't want to disappoint them. We wanted to be like them. You can't be like them because we had a different experience. But I found that working out, physical fitness, is really important to your mental health. It's the most important thing, I think, because they go together. I do some of the things that all you people say, but I don't do them all the time. I just do things that make me feel good about myself, okay? I started out lifting weights. I came back from Vietnam, I had malaria, I weighed 122 pounds, and I felt a little embarrassed to be that thin. And I met a guy named Bob Fredette, God bless his soul. We started Olympic lifting. And at some point in time, Julius Adams came down and said, they didn't do that up there. He wanted to learn how to, clean. Yeah. This is important now. And for a couple of weeks, I could clean more than them. That didn't last long. So I think my life has changed from physical fitness, but not because I'm obsessed with it, because I realize it's part of my life and I need to do it. Okay? And that's the discipline that you evolve to. You evolve to a discipline that this is part of my life. And it affects who I am and it affects how I treat other people. I don't compete like I used to, but I train a lot of kids because I want to pass on what I learned, and it makes you feel good about yourself.
Thanks, Ron. That was amazing. Wow, so many good tidbits here. I like what Ron just said about just being disciplined. And you just start somewhere. It doesn't have to be this big thing every day. It should be something every day, but it doesn't have to be in excess. Just start somewhere. And I think that's kind of what we've heard from the panel here is just about starting. Andrew, as we're kind of going along, with feeling good about yourself, how do you manage stress in your life? And do you believe stress management is playing an active role in your life right now?
Certainly, no question. It's, and I've gotten better with that. I think in pro sports, stress is a pressure point for everybody. It's something that you use to be the best. I wouldn't have got to where I was if I wasn't a person who was stressed. I wouldn't have got to where I was if I was a lackadaisical person. However, it's hard to run that hot your entire life. It's certainly hard to run that hot on a daily basis, 24 hours a day. And I think you hear a lot of professional athletes talk about turning it off and leaving it at the rink, or leaving it at the field, or leaving it on the golf course. You hear athletes say that often, and easier said than done when what you do is there's a lot of people depending on it in your life, and it's hard to leave that terrible game at home. It's hard to go to sleep when you give up 6 goals in national television and not think about it at night. So I had a lot of stress in my life, but as I've gotten older, the thing I latch onto now, and we talked about it, Todd, is the things you worry about never actually come to fruition. They never really do. And I've learned that as I've gotten older. All of the nights that I've stayed awake at night worrying about something that was going to happen the next day, or worrying about how I was going to play, or worrying about my contract, worrying about where it went 180 degrees from what I was worried about, because that's how life works. So I've gotten away from worrying. My wife is brilliant at not worrying. I don't know how she doesn't worry about anything. I guess she's from a house with 3 sisters here in Foxborough, and I think that her being the youngest sister, the older one just took care of everything for her, and that's how she lives. Everything just always works out for her somehow. And I've taken a lot from that, because she deals with what comes at us as a family, as a couple, and we figure it out. And so to that point, that stress, it does affect us over time, right? As I get older, I don't, if I have something that I'm procrastinating on, I feel that I end up not eating as well. Maybe I have 2 extra glasses of wine. I don't get out to the extra. I don't sleep as well. All of those, and that's where that you can snowball from that stress. You can snowball from that procrastination, and I know that's something that I have to work on. I know that's something that I have to really focus on, and I have to kind of. And the other thing, and we talked about it, Todd, and this is, I'll just finish the question actually, is, and as I'm on stage in front of everybody now, I'm gonna mess this up in some way, but. Worrying is arrogance, and being humble is the opposite. And I try and be humble now, in that I can't affect everything. Why would I think that I can affect this entire planet with my thoughts and how I think? And I really try and ground myself with that and think about that a lot to get rid of my stress, and that whatever is going to come is going to come. I'm going to try and be the best person I can be. I'm going to try and do everything the right way, but sometimes stuff happens, and you have to hit it head on. So stress is something that I deal with, that we deal with as a family, and something that I think about a lot in health, mental health, physical health, what I eat. A lot of it depends on the stress in our house, and stress that my kids feel. So it goes down the line in how important relieving stress, whatever that is to each of us, relieving that stress, and how important that is to our well-being.
Well, thank you, Andrew. That was really great. A few things that Andrew talked about worrying. I think the stat that I had read is that 95% of the things we worry about never happen. I mean, so that's a pretty big number. The other thing that he talked about, I heard someone talk about this many years ago, that we're all responsible for a party of one. So if we take care of our stuff, I mean, how many times do we see, like, our kids or people around us, if we're not in the best frame of mind, it seeps everywhere. So, you know, just taking care of a party of one, and, you know, kind of a job I always think of us being as parents, is to do everything we can do so we can mentor people around us. And if we can just take care of ourselves by healthy habits and being around the right people, it absolutely affects everyone around us. Ray. How you doing? We're looking for Ray in the microphone. Thank you, Sheila. Ray, to go along that line as well, in what ways do you cope with stress, and do you feel this has played a significant role in your health and longevity?
How many people are retired out here? All right. Okay, so that's great. So stress I learned to deal with at a very young age. I founded a business in the 70s and ran it for many, many years. And certainly if anyone in here is an entrepreneur, any entrepreneurs in here? Yay. You know what kind of stress is involved, but as an athlete for many of those years, aerobic activity is where I learned how to deal with stress. And as a result of that, that activity, I had the best conversations in the 5 a.m. runs. And many times they occurred with friends, and many times they occurred by myself, but we figured out a lot of things together. And that really helped with stress. I could go back and talk about my childhood on dairy farms and how you can understand that being in nature, you have a totally different perspective about what's important and what isn't. So I'm not going to bore you with that, but stress is one of those things that it's cumulative with other things like diet and many of the things that we've talked about up here, and which leads into sleep hygiene. And everyone getting pretty good night's sleep these days? And so it's interesting. So I find this with speaking to other folks as well, that sleep is really important to me. I need 8 to 9 hours a night. And I get it most nights, except if I have to do something crazy and get up early. But sleep is really important. And it's one of, if you take anything away tonight, we can talk more about, and I'd be glad to speak with you after about sleep. I'm not in the sleep business, by the way. I don't sell mattresses or any of that stuff, but sleep is one of those things that is really, really important. So I'd be happy to speak with you after.
Thank you, Ray. Sofia, I have a question for you. Are you ready? So, Sofia, I have a question for you. Are you ready?
Okay.
So, Sofia, how do you manage stress in your life?
Work it out. The best thing. I have a home gym. We all have stress, but we're not a switch, right? Somebody hurts us, or whatever, the jobs, we're not a switch. Shut it off, right? And the stress goes away. It's not working that way. But I'm in control of that. Say I'm in a hole, somebody hurts me, I gotta get out of that hole. Or I talk to one of my friends, she's here right now, Jeanette, and she knows what's going on. And I talked to her the next day, I'm still a little bit hurt. The third day, I'm okay. This person's not gonna hurt me anymore, I'm in control. It's the gym. I have a home gym, like I say, is the best thing. I go the time that I want it, it's about working out. Good nutrition. Never mind the drinking alcohol, it's not going to work. So I don't smoke. I'm a very tremendous energy. Very strong. Lift weights every day. And I'm supposed to work out every day.
Sofia, looks like it's working for you.
I go in my gym for 1 hour. Then I meditate, I do mobility. Just very good for you. Stretch, 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 stretch. So it's like going in a car. So I'm good. I'm really, really good. Very strong person. I'm 8 years old, everybody knows here. So doing a good job. You have control, that's your choice. All your choice to do everything you wanted. Nobody told me what to do. I say this brilliant. It's your choice. Somebody told me, how do you have to all this time? I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go out at 3:15 to go running. Boston Marathon is in April. I have to be up there running. Snow, rain. I don't like machines. I don't have chinos. I don't have a treadmill at home. I don't have a bike. I cannot do it. I cannot sit down. Impossible. I have upstairs, downstairs. I'm my stairmaster. To make my beds upstairs, go downstairs, go upstairs. And I'm 107 pounds. So, I don't need machines. It's a dust collection. Do not do it. I recommend do not buy it.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
I just don't like it. It's too big, I don't like it, but I'm very healthy. Very, very healthy. I don't like to talk about diets. Use common sense. People that are diets, they make good money. Lot of money about all of you, not you, somebody else. So, just look at the plates, small plates. And they have to be colorful. The vegetables, I don't like salad. She knows I don't like salad. I do roasted veggies. But a lot of color. And protein. It's easy. That's it. It's very easy.
Awesome, Sofia. And one of the things that Sofia just talked about, it's really great that it can be individual for everyone, right? Everyone here on the panel, that's, I think, the great thing about tonight is everyone's sharing. Some people use machines, some people use weights, some people don't use weights. And it's individual for every person. It's about finding what's going to work for you, right? It's not what works for me or anyone up here on the panel. It's about what's going to work for you. Ron, one of the things I hear is kind of something that we've talked about. It's about being around the right people. It's around about making the decision, the people that we want to spend our time with. How have your social connections influenced your well-being, and how do you maintain them?
But you're going to talk about stress. And I figured that. This is something about stress.
You can absolutely say something about stress.
One of the things in my life that, as I said, I retired 10 years ago. Hello? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3? Okay, gotta be real. Okay. When I retired 10 years ago, concrete can be a very high stress. That's what I was in the ready-mix concrete business. There's a million things that can go wrong with concrete when you're doing big projects, big bridges. We did the stadium, Providence Place, small stuff like that. But I loved my job. Every day, I had a blast going to work. If you would have said to me, "Do you have any stress?" I'd say, "No, I don't have any stress. I'm having a blast." And it was like that for 42 years. The day after I retired, for some reason, I felt like the world had been lifted off my shoulders. If you had asked, like I said, if you had asked me before, "Do you have any stress?" No, I don't have any stress. But the day after I retired, I felt like the world had been lifted off my shoulders. Stress can be, the way I equate it, is like a backpack that you're carrying every day. And sometimes you don't even think about it. You don't even realize it's there. You just carry it every day. And being fortunate enough to retire, that backpack came off. I didn't even realize I was carrying that backpack. And it was such a relief to have that off of me. But your day-to-day lives, sometimes you don't think about the stress that you're carrying. And you should make the conscious, if you can, make the conscious effort to, as I said before, try to think about the good things in your life, the diet and the exercise, going to the gym is a great thing, as you know, everyone has mentioned. It can help relieve that stress, but be conscious of it. Sometimes we're not. Sometimes we have it and we don't even realize it, and it can affect our health. It can affect our bodies. So by being conscious of it and making that conscious effort to deal with it in getting it to the sleep, which is so important, the diet, the exercise, the sleep. One of the things that I like to do before I go to bed, or when I go to bed, is I listen to spa music for a while. I just put it on a timer, and that helps me just decompress and relax, and I get a much better night's sleep than when I do not do that. But, so I think that's important, to realize that there is stress in your life and to be conscious of it and find your way to deal with it. And for me, it's like thinking about the good things in life, meditation, thinking about something that will put a smile on your face, and it helps decompress and help relieve some of that stress. What was the other thing you were going to ask?
Thank you. The other question was, how have your social connections influenced your well-being, and how have you made an effort to maintain them?
I think social connections are extremely important. And it can help maintain that positive attitude that I talk about, surrounding yourself with positive people, people that have a positive outlook on life, working towards a goal, being determined about something. For me personally, it's had a tremendous effect. And going to the gym, again, for me personally, going to the gym, speaking with other people that are like-minded, just like this group up here, you hear so many common denominators in the things that we're talking about. When you surround yourself with positive people, positive thoughts, you just feel better, and it has a tremendous effect on your health. And again, Todd has been, I watch this guy, and I see with all the things that are going on, how he's got that confidence, that positive attitude, that he just exudes. And by hanging around with this guy, I can't even express in words how much that has helped me. Just hanging around with him, whether we're building his shed, whether we're working on a project, you know, at a family get-together, just chatting. It's had a tremendous impact on me, and to make me conscious of those things that can make me happy and happier in life, and more healthy. So I think it's a huge, has had a huge effect.
Thank you. Thank you. Sheila, you got the bike. How have your relationships played a role in your overall health, and how have you nurtured those connections over the years?
Well, I'm involved in so many activities. I have a multitude of friends and acquaintances. Just this summer, through coincidence, I reconnected with a woman that I hadn't talked to or seen since we were 18. There's a lot of years between 18 and 84. As chair of my college reunion, recently there was one of the women on the committee who I was not friendly with at all in college when we were undergraduates, and she said to me, "Gee, I wish I'd known you when we were in college." I mean, that really says something, and it really got me. As a senior basketball player, I've had a great opportunity to travel all over our country, from Maine to Florida and out to the West Coast. And as a result, I've made many friends, and even though they're on opposing teams, I hear from them regularly. Most of the times, they want to know how we're doing, but many times they're scouting the team. They want to know who's injured, who's retired. Yes, we do retire. They're friends on the telephone and adversaries on the basketball court, believe me. But at the end of the game, when it's over, we're all shaking hands and we're all friends until the next time we meet on the court. I've made tremendous number of friends since I started playing pickleball, and it is, as Dante can vouch, it's a wonderful, wonderful sport. And many of the women in our group have played against you, Dante, because they've told me that. I hope they've won, I don't know, and they didn't mention that. But when I would like to give a little plug for pickleball. When I started playing, it was about 3 years ago. It was the result of, I was at Finberg Field just shooting hoops, and some of my former students and friends were on the tennis court playing pickleball. And we happened to be there at the same time several days, and they said, come over and play. No, that's pickleball? Oh no, I'm a basketball player, no pickleball for me. Well, one day I went over and started playing, and I thought, gee, this isn't bad. So we went in Attleboro from having just 12 of us, and now we have 2 apps, because we have 2 different sites in Attleboro. One of my former students gives us a weather report the night before, the morning of. She sets the time when we're going to play, so we make sure we always have at least 4. And it's just been terrific. From 12 players, we now have over 433 on our 2 apps. And I want to tell you one thing about Attleboro. Has the reputation of being the most welcoming to others that want to play pickleball. And the signs on the court say, for Attleboro residents and their guests. And boy, do we have a lot of guests.
Thank you so much, Sheila. That was fantastic. So if anybody hasn't got the subliminal messages, we all need to start playing pickleball. Ron, can you share any advice on how you maintain a positive outlook and attitude towards life?
Say that again.
Can you share your advice on maintaining a positive outlook and positive attitude as we all get younger?
I think, along with stress, one thing that gets rid of stress is being happy.
If this was my mic, I might drop it.
Being happy. If you're working out and you're happy, I served, I played league football, all those things. But when you're worried about it, like you said, you're not happy. That's where stress comes from. Listen to music, sit down with your wife and enjoy your company, whatever. You have to be happy. I think when I work out and when I was competing and I wasn't happy, there was a lot of stress there. I want to place, can I make this lift? Well, I'm sure it's the same in professional athletics. But now that I don't have to do all that, my workouts are fun. Okay, and I feel happy. I get much more energetic out of it, even though I'm so much older. I think being happy is important. And when you do things that make you happy, stress disappears. That's my personal opinion. And if you feel good about yourself, you're happy.
Thank you. Dante, have you ever encountered any significant health challenges along the way, and how did you overcome them?
Health challenges?
Yeah, any health challenges?
Like being sick because of what you do?
Yes, it could be anything. Could be anything.
Not really. I really like doing what I did for 48 years. It was my dream to be a football coach, and I lived that dream for 48 years, so, it wasn't always a box of chocolates, believe me, but it was what I wanted to do. We're talking about stress, and it's a stressful job. Coaching, there's a lot of stress that goes on out there, and but you just deal with it and you meet it head on. And I will share this with you all because it's a part of all our lives. That's what's great about this. We all live this. Parcells told the team one time in his very first meeting, and I was fortunate to be on his staff, and he said, he got up on a whiteboard and with a black felt pen he wrote one word: conflict. okay? And he defined conflict in this way. And he said, fellas, conflict is a result of one of two things. You lie to me, or I lie to you. It works both ways. If you lie to me or I lie to you, we're going to be in conflict. And that's fair, okay? The other thing that causes conflict is you fail to meet my expectations, or I fail to meet yours. It works both ways. And it's transcendent. It's not just the football team. It's the family. It's the friends. It's business. It's organization. It's all that, okay? And I thought that that was one of the great things ever said. So when conflict is apparent, okay? Hey, Jimmy, did you go to the weight room today? Did you get your weight work in? Yeah, coach. He was lying like hell. Because the strength coach came up and told me, Jimmy wasn't there today. How come? So what's my choice? I'm in conflict with Jimmy. So I got to go tell him I'm in conflict with him. Otherwise, no one's going to lift weights. So you got to go up there and you got to tell him. And you got to tell him straight in the face, you lied to me, and you're supposed to be lifting weights, and that's what you're supposed to do. Go do it. Or you say nothing. And then all hell breaks loose. And that's the truth. Look at it. As I said, it's transcendent. It's the same thing with your kids, all right? It's the same thing, relationships, you know, with your husband, your wife, whatever it is. When there's conflict, you have to meet it head on, or nothing gets resolved. And we have two of the best kids you've ever been around, okay? And they used to hate it when me usually say, get downstairs, kitchen table, now, oh hell, here we go. But that's how it works. And if you don't do that, you never get out of people what you need to get out of them. And that's honesty. And that's just being honest about everything. So, you know, is that stress? Yeah, it's added stress, but so what? You know, the common goal is to be as good as we can be, to have the kind of team that we want to have, or have the kind of position group that we want to have, a really good line. And if we're all on the same page and we're all seeing the game through one set of eyes, not 11 sets of eyes, but one set of eyes, we got a hell of a lot better chance of being really good than we do if we don't. So.
It's a really good point, and I know when anybody, how does everybody feel when you hold something inside?
Oh, it's the worst.
Horrible, right? And then when you don't, I think it's something good to practice, even to practice small. If you have something that you want to say, because I know I've had people in my life where I haven't felt, it hasn't been easy to go talk to them. So I practice with people that I'm comfortable with, and I can talk about a situation, and then you just have to build some momentum. And overall, a big thing that I'm hearing up here is how anyone can find ways to keep their stress as low as they can. So like Dante just said, when you speak what you need to speak, and when you have that relationship with anyone that you're with in your life, hopefully that will keep your stress down, and ultimately that will keep you healthy. As we all know, that the famous thing called cortisol, the stress hormone, and I know we haven't really talked about what that means, but it is something that can affect everyone's life significantly, and it always comes out in our own physical health. Thank you, Dante. That was really great. Ray. Can we give Ray the mic? Ray, what events or activities have you participated in that you wouldn't have been possible prior to incorporating physical therapy into your routine?
Before we get into that, I want to go back to stress for a second. And I want to introduce my wife, Judy. I see her sitting right there. Of 49 and a half years. Now, you talk about stress, she's had to live with me for 49 and a half years. So have a talk with her after. Anyway, so there's a lot of activities that I couldn't have. I have a torn labrum right now. I've had 3 shoulder operations, and I've had Achilles tendon issues, and as a result of seeking the right provider, I've been able to continue to do the crazy stuff that I do. So with the Achilles, I went to my orthopedic guy, and he said I'd never run again, and went to my podiatrist, and he said I'd never run again. And here's a plug for Todd. After about 7 or 8 months, he got me running again, and I ran Boston with my daughter, and we also ran Disney in 2019, I believe. So yeah, it works. And you can overcome a lot of these challenges if you just find the right person who will keep you on a continuum and keep you moving. But never take no for an answer. Find your yes. Because, you know, many times today in healthcare, my wife's in healthcare, so I learned this through osmosis, but, you know, it's about pills and that kind of thing, but it really isn't. And there's always a way to get around it and continue to do the things that you love to do. If you find the right person or the provider or people that'll drag you along with them. And to Dante's point, accountability is so important. We have to hold ourselves accountable, and unfortunately, we see a lot of that today, where we don't have that. And there's a lot of detail in terms of I'm a data nerd, so I count everything. And as a result, I can reach my objectives and goals, and so that's how I roll. I can help you with that if you have any questions about that later.
Yes, thank you, Ray. I have to apologize, I didn't make a table out there for Ray, but I'll see if we can get one out there after we're all set. Sorry about that. I don't know, Tracy, maybe you can get Ray a table out back.
I want the blue one.
You know, God, there's so many good things. I have so many other questions I want to ask. One of the things, Sheila, what role do you think keeping your mind mentally stimulated and continuing learning has played in keeping your mind sharp?
Well, you know, colleges have added all of these adult programs on Zoom, especially during COVID. And I think people that have taken advantage of some of these programs, you know, have really aided in the aging process. Meeting new people who have a different way of looking at an issue is also food for thought. A couple of years ago, I met a young woman, and she happened to be a professor of Todd's at Northeastern, a mechanical engineering professor, and she's also an international tennis official. And I'll tell you, talking to this woman, she can stimulate your mind, right, Todd?
Yeah, she can. She taught gross anatomy in school.
Meeting new people, you may have a different way of looking at an issue. It's food for thought. Talking to a high school or a college student and trying to understand their perspective on an issue, sometimes it might make you rethink that issue. But don't give up. In the words of FDR, when you reach the end of your rope, tie a knot and hang on.
Thank you so much. I'll go with you, Ron. In what ways have you continued learning, and how has that helped you to keep your mind sharp over the years?
I love to read. I'm a fan of history, physical fitness. But what's helped me the most is training other kids. I think it brings you to a point in your life. We're all kidding ourselves if we think we're going to be 17 forever. And I'm not kidding myself about it. But I've been training some young people, maybe 20 years, and every now and then you meet someone who's really got something going for them, and you learn from them, because even though you're training them, there's something special about that person. But as I said earlier in this conversation, helping other people makes me feel good about myself. And it makes me happy, and it takes away stress. And I'm passing on what someone passed on to me. The guy that started me lifting it was really good. God rest his soul, he's gone. But he was ranked in the country. I lifted with guys who went to the Olympics. And even though I was nowhere near them, just being around them helped. But when you do the same thing and pass it on to other people, I think you raise yourself up a little bit. Not personally, but you're raising yourself up by passing things on. I think that's the most important thing we can do, especially as we get old. I don't know if I'm going to make it to where you are, dear. Do you want more of an answer than that?
No, that was perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. And I think there's many ways that we can do it. Again, what I love about these questions and how they're answering the questions, everyone has just a different perspective. But it always comes back to like the same overall arching idea, which is great. Ron. What events or activities have you participated in that you thought wouldn't be possible prior to incorporating physical therapy into your daily routine?
I enjoy the things that I enjoy going to the gym. I enjoy meeting other people. I really love talking to other people, getting their perspective on current events. My wife and I have been fortunate enough to travel quite a bit to Europe. I love history. I love talking to people from Europe to get their perspective on this country. And that keeps my mind active. That and family. My kids and my grandkids help keep me young. I love listening to them, getting their perspective on things, trying to impart a little bit of wisdom, whatever I can, to them. Sometimes they give me grief over it though. But that's staying active like that with friends and family, being interested in things around you that make you feel good, as I said, traveling and learning a little bit more about history and where this country started, things like that, has a tremendous impact on your well-being.
Thank you. So as we're getting kind of close to wrapping up, I wanted to ask each one of you just one question, and we'll just go. Actually, we'll start with Dante down the end. What is the biggest piece of advice that you would give the younger generation about your secret to staying healthy?
I think this. I think we're all really comfortable when we have routines. And I know I am. You know, I wake up at a certain time, I have step A, B, and C, and it's all planned out. And I think that, you know, I did that for so many years in coaching that when I retired, you know, you think, well, man, now it's going to be a lot different. Well, it hasn't been different for me. I have routines, and I'm a routine guy. And so I think the more that you can follow, adapt your routine that maybe you had in your professional life to now your retired life, you're going to be a lot better off. I'm going to the YMCA every morning when it opens, every other day. I'm just doing it, okay? And that makes me happy, and it satisfies a need that I have to do things, and then I plan, everything else is planned out from that. Pickleball, bike riding, all those things. That's just part of it. And then, of course, family's all part of that too. And sometimes maybe family trumps some of that stuff, but that's okay. That's the way it should be. And I saw so many hands up go that went up when Todd asked about who was retired, or someone asked about it. And here's the first thing I learned about retirement, when I retired. That house I live in, that's not my house, okay? That's her house. And there's only one queen. There's no king in that house. Okay? So it's yes, dear, great. And I was a lot better off when I learned that as opposed, maybe we ought to do it this way. It ain't gonna happen, so don't. It's the truth.
Thank you, Dante. That was great. Andrew, what is the biggest piece of advice you would give the younger generation about your secret to staying healthy?
So, like I talked about, I'm dealing with that next generation daily, minute to minute in my house. And for me and my wife as parents, it's purpose. It's making sure that all three of my kids have some kind of purpose. And I think we've heard that the whole time, for the last couple of hours, that each of us, whether it was coaching, weightlifting, basketball, running, staying healthy, you need to have a purpose to do so. And I think kids with their phones and accountability issues, purpose gets lost on them. And I think sometimes they feel like they don't have a purpose. And so that's something that when I hear that question, that the first word comes to mind is purpose. And if you have a purpose for anything, I think that everything else falls into place behind it.
Thank you. That's amazing. Thank you. Yeah, just having a purpose, a passion in life, having your North Star, super important. Ron, what is the biggest piece of advice that you would share to the younger generation?
I've already heard it, but I think the electronic age has taken away a lot of initiative from the human spirit. I think you have to feel good about yourself, but you have to have a function that helps you mentally and physically. And if you get caught into the electronic age, this is an excuse not to do something. I think what these two gentlemen said is exactly right. You got to focus on what you want to be, what you want to do. Even if you don't make that goal, you got to keep trying. Even at 80 years old, I still want to do something. And don't get me wrong, I like a good movie or a show, but when I get up in the morning, I'm thinking about what am I going to do today to help myself and my wife. How much more physical can I be now that I'm 80? How much can I not do? What do I do to substitute that? You just got to keep focusing on trying to stay fit. And it helps you mentally. It becomes a way of life. I don't think, it doesn't have to be obsessive. It just has to be part of your life.
Amazing point, right? Again, we're just hearing the same thing about just staying consistent. Just do the thing and just do whatever's right for you. Thank you, Ron. That was great. Sheila.
First of all, they should set goals. Make good choices. Learn from their mistakes. Listen to your parents and your grandparents. Yes, parents and grandparents. And learn from their success and failures. Do something good every day, no matter what. I was in the grocery store the other day, and I had about 20 things to go through the belt, and there were two people behind me, and they each had one item. And I said, well, go ahead. They said, what? I said, go ahead, you can go ahead of me, it's okay. It was like I had two heads. And then when I said it to the next person, she walked right, something simple like that, every day. Fitness is not about being better than someone else. It's about being better than you used to be.
So, continuity is something that you heard a lot about tonight, and that would be my big takeaway if I were sitting out there. Continuity is so important. And the other thing is that I would tell the younger generation, who, by the way, are getting softer every day, that you're either living a healthy lifestyle or you're not. It's that simple. And if you want to live a healthy lifestyle, then what you're doing inside the house, you're wearing on the outside. So we can see it, you can't hide.
Thank you, Ray. Sofia, what is one thing that you would want to share and tell the younger generation? What is one thing that you would want to share and tell the younger generation about how to be successful and be healthy?
Oh, okay. My kids, I don't have to tell anything. They're doing, but nobody is like me. Because I love the challenge. She knows. My friend knows. I love the challenge. Otherwise, I don't want to be in this world. I love challenge, period. I know I'm eating, but I still have it. Trust me. I'm not that tired. She knows. I was cleaning the garage another day, right? I'm like, what is this? What do you want to do this? I love challenge. So I have a garden, my backyard. I go there, my legs is full of mosquito bites. So I go there, work all day long. I know I have to finish when I started. That's a big problem. That's why I love marathon. I wanted to run a marathon, so I don't stop. I keep running. My husband used to say, take some mile with you. How many miles do you want to run? I don't know, maybe 2 or 3. I was outside for 3 hours or 4. But that's me. I love actually the challenge. Isn't it a challenge? I love it. Have my friends in my house for supper. And I tell them, come on, when I die, you're going to cry. I don't need those tears. I cannot see you. Come to my table. Let's talk about things. Let's laugh. I'm walking cars. I got everybody together. This is what I want. I don't have a husband. My husband passed away with brain tumor at age 54. So when Celeste called me up 2 days later, oh, you should come to us. We have a group for us to talk. I go, sorry lady, I'm going to go to the gym. That's my grief. Grief different, right? That was my peace of mind. I cried from point A to point B. I got there, a lot of hugs, we cried, I thought I was up. Nothing, I was feeling better. I think that's what I wanted. So I'm a very strong person, by the way, and they know me. But my kids have not had my discipline, my energetic, my drive. They don't. They don't feel like get me wrong, but it's not me. They call I'm tired. I don't go in this room, I'm tired. I'm never tired. And I sleep very good, by the way.
Thank you, Sofia. Give it up for Sofia. And Ron, what is one piece of advice you would give the younger generation?
It's all of the above. I think we've heard some great things here when you talk about living life with a purpose. Something that Ron said earlier that struck me is when we were talking about stress. Find a reason to be happy. Think about the things in your life that make you happy. You'll have a better life, and it will be happier. And live life with a determination. Set a goal. Work toward that goal. Understanding that you might have a couple of setbacks, but you keep moving forward. As long as you're always moving forward toward that goal. And probably lastly, surround yourself with happy, positive people that can enhance your life. And in some way, you try to enhance their life as well. So I think those things are the most important, and I think that doing those things, they can lead a very fulfilled life.
Thank you. So So Dante will just finish it up with a couple words from you tonight.
Okay. So, people ask me, what's the number one trait that a coach should have? And I've made no bones about this because I really believe it to be accurate. And I think it's no different than being a parent. You got to tell the truth. Okay? You got to tell the truth. And along with that, the caveat is you also have to be willing to provide solutions, because if the truth is easy as, man, you're really playing good, you're doing it exactly the way we want it done, and playing as hard as you can play, just keep doing it, that's the truth, okay? But if it's not that, and it's something that's like, you're really not playing very hard, you're not trying very hard, you're not using the techniques that we want done, okay? Then you have to provide solutions. So this is where you are. If you want to get to this point up here, here's the steps you have to take. So you got to tell the truth, and if the truth is a bit harsh or a bit accurate, or the truth, then you have to provide solutions, because there's no sense in saying, hey, you suck. Okay? And, okay, coach, tell me how I don't suck. All right? What can I do to be better? And that's what you're supposed to do in this profession. Right? And really and truly, it's the same thing you do as a parent. If they're not doing it exactly the way you want it done, or not acting the way you want them to act, or not doing the stuff that you think they should be doing, you got to tell them. It's not that hard. Okay? And I know this. It's a lot easier to sit down one-on-one and tell the truth than it is to let it go on and let it go on, because it'll never get better. It never will get better. There's no chance. So that's one of the things that I've always embraced as a football coach. And, you know, sometimes it can't always be, like our granddaughter played on 3 softball teams this spring, and I went to a lot of games. And there was this one girl, one of her teammates, would get up there and she would not swing at the ball. The ball would just keep going by and she would not swing. And I sat there and I wondered, is it because she's afraid of failure? Or if she strikes out, it's going to hurt the team. What is it? Why won't she swing at these balls? And it could have been any of those things. And I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was her parents, but you could hear after every time she would go up there and watch 3 strikes go by and go to the bench. Good job, Karen, way to go. It's a good job. That's not her name. But it isn't a good job. That's not the truth. But somewhere along the line, she learned that if I swing the bat, I have a chance to hit this ball. And I remember the first time she swung the bat, and it was a foul ball, and it was like, oh my God, this is one of the greatest moments in my life. I was so happy for her. And ultimately, it got to the point where she had some success and hit the ball. And was it because somebody told her the truth? You got to swing or you'll never hit the ball. And I just think that that's what it's all about, you know, and we all do it as parents, we all do it as teachers, coaches, whatever. And I think that's, you know, it's one of the great qualities any teacher, coach, parent can have, is to tell the truth and provide solutions. And then one last thing, since it's come up a lot of times, pickleball. These 2 knuckleheads that invented pickleball, they set up a net, they got a wiffle ball, they got a couple of ping pong paddles, and they started hitting the ball back and forth. And damned if their dog wasn't named Pickle. So when the ball went way out, hey Pickle, go get that ball. Pickleball.
Thank you, Dante. So as we wrap up tonight, I hope everyone got something out of tonight. One of the things that I liked, what everybody said up here is, most people said this, is just about keeping it simple. And if we were just to break it down, having Dante talk about routines, having Dante talking about just tell the truth, having Dante talk about take a chance and see what happens. Sofia talking about just finish what you started, just to set your goals, and whatever they are, just to stick to them. Ron also talking about just making you happy. Do what makes you happy. Keeping your goals and keep moving forward. Andrew talking about purpose, and everyone just find your purpose in life, and everything, we could break down what they said into one word, and if you just take away that one word. Sheila talking about setting goals, listening to people. As one of my coaches once said, or somebody once said this, we have one mouth and two ears, right? How Ray talked about being consistent. Everything that they said today, hopefully everyone just took away at least one thing that might be helpful for you. So I'd like to just give a real big shout out to the whole panel up here. And give a big shout out to Andrew Raycroft just for taking the time out of his day to share his thoughts and ideas. Thank you. And a big shout out to Dante. I mean, we can just look at his career. He has exemplified what the idea of longevity means, being consistent. Thank you to Ron Churchill. I mean, I've known him for a while, but I learned so much just from you tonight, Coach. Just amazing. Amazing what goes on behind the scenes in everyone's lives too, right? And just no matter what's going on in your life, we're still responsible just to show up the best that we can every day. Thank you to Sheila. I mean, wow, talk about inspiring. I'm thinking they're gonna have to create a new age group pretty soon for her, because she'll be right past that age group. And thank you to Ray. Ray's resting heart rate is 39. I thought I'd share that as a stat because we know Ray likes stats. He's always inspiring me. He's always inspiring me to be better with the conversations we have every day. So again, thank you for sharing. And Sofia, I mean, talk about a firecracker, right? Thank you, Sofia, for sharing everything you have. And thank you, Ron. Just thank you for being there in my life. And just thank you for everything you shared today. Just the simple messages. And one of the things that we talked about outside is I wanted everyone's personality to come out, which I think it did. Everyone's personality came out and they shared what they wanted. And a big thank you to Tracy again for everything that she did, just for being here today. And I'm sure this, on the way here, when she came to the office this afternoon, she's really doing a good job of keeping things from me that I don't need to know about. And she told me about a couple problems she had to handle, and I know she can handle a lot of stuff. So again, thank you for what I don't even know about until tomorrow. I want to thank Alex over here for Alex Green from Green Media. Thank you for just doing the video, and thank you for all the social media stuff that you do. I'd like to thank Jessica too over here for setting up the lights and so we can have all this here. And I want to give a shout out for VV Alchemy, who's outside, Confidence Fitness, and also 365 Nutrition. And a big thank you to Houghton Physical Therapy and the team. I wouldn't be able to be up here without you guys, so thank you very much. And I want to a big thank you to my wife, Devin. I don't know where she is, but if anyone hasn't seen her, she's in a big pink dress. Thank you for putting up with me and my crazy ideas. because there's always something new. I'm already on to the next thing I'm going to do after this. I'm already thinking about that. And there's also, for everyone here, thank you everyone for coming. Just thank you for taking the time out of your day to come today. Again, thank you for supporting us. And there's a sticky note in the back of the workbook if you want to share your takeaways, any other thoughts or ideas, any ways that we could have made this better, any information you want to share with us would be great. So again, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.